From the mayor's office, we return now with Gloucester Mayor Greg Verga. Mr. Mayor, welcome back. How are you?
Doing great, Rick. How are you?
Not so bad, not so bad. It's funny, we do it in a warm-up. We try to figure out, what it is our officials want to discuss and promote. And the one thing I forgot about before we were just talking with you was the city beach parking and so on. I know it was successful in terms of parking reservations and keeping the traffic down. But I'm just wondering, the month of August was not very hot. So maybe just a summary of how the beach scene went as it's now, from May to September, and September 15 is the official closing, I think, of the public rescue stuff and life-saving stuff at the beaches. So maybe a little summary on how summer went.
A summer summary. Sure. Well, we're going to have a meeting. We always do like a summer recap with all the emergency services and DPW. That'll be happening next week. But as far as the beaches go, it was a very good year. Now, the tricky thing about the beach revenues is because our fiscal year starts July 1, when we look at the numbers, we're looking at fiscal year 24 to give us the numbers for June, and then looking at fiscal year 25 for the numbers for July and August. So we did pretty well, but we won't really know what we plug in an estimated revenue for the beach. And it's not just the beaches, it's Wingashi, Good Harbor, and also the parking over at Stageport Park. But so we won't really know until we look at the numbers of June of next year for the totals. But we did well for June, which closed out the FY24 numbers. And we did really well for July and August, in spite of it not being very sunny some of those weekends. But yeah, we're hopefully going to be in line at the end of this fiscal year with what we estimated. There was a little pushback from the council, or at least a member of the council, that we should be upping our revenue projections. But we did not feel comfortable going up too high on those numbers, because you never know if we had a lot of rainy weekends, and who knows what next June's going to look like. So as of now, we're on track. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that next June is decent too, and then we find our final projected number aligns with what we actually take in. But there's no question that the system itself, the reservation system, did cut down on the gridlock that occurred around Thatcher Road and Concord Street and in West Gloucester.
Definitely.
So it's been pretty good feedback for the last 3 seasons now.
All right, I switched to speaker view on this YouTube recording today because for some reason my side of things keeps kicking me off the screen and putting my name up there in black, and that's distracting. So if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to keep you up there. I know you can't see me.
That's fine.
But we'll do it like we're over the phone for the moment. All right, let's get to the big issue, Mayor Verga. This MBTA zoning thing has a lot of components to it. There are a lot of proponents and a lot of opponents, which I guess means components. But tell me a little bit about the update, where things stand. And again, I suppose you have to summarize and reiterate the fact that this is mandated from the state.
Right. So just a quick refresher on 3A, multifamily zoning, MBTA zoning, whatever the word of the day is. But 3A is the law for Mass General Law, which it basically compels all the MBTA communities to come within compliance of the multifamily zoning. There are 177 communities, whether you have train service, bus service, subway service, or if you're an adjacent community. We are an MBTA community because we have 2 train stations. So we are required by state law to be in compliance by December 31st of this year. There's some people who still continue to say that that this is an option. The Attorney General, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Governor made it quite clear in the legislature that it is not an option, that 177 communities must be compliant by the end of this year, or they will face severe consequences. The town of Milton being the poster child, where they voted at town meeting to not comply. And I think they had in hand something like $145,000 grant, which was quickly pulled back by the governor because of their non-compliance. We are on track. We're in interim compliance because we had our interim compliance plan submitted last December 31st. Right now, we're looking at, my cheat sheet over here is September 11th, which is 2 days away. There's going to be a city council public hearing on the plan that's been submitted to the city council from the planning board. September 26th is a follow-up, if needed, a continuation of that public hearing. But so basically, if I could find the details, it would put around our two transit stations. This is what's proposed. Obviously, changes can be made at the city council level, or it can be voted down. I hope that it's not, because it'll be very ugly for us. The West Gloucester station and the downtown station, an area around the Maplewood Ave area, which would encompass some of the Gloucester Housing Authority properties. So if down the road they wanted to go, I believe they're all just single story, if they wanted to go up a story or expand, as well as Schoolhouse Road, the Hallian's already up there. There's some other open space up at the Gloucester Crossing area. So those would all be available for multifamily zoning. So basically, as of now, you can have multifamily zoning. So what this would do is someone could automatically, with just a simple building permit, go from a 1 to 2 family or a 2 to 3 family. You can do that now, but there's a little more involved, whether it's going through the zoning board of appeals or through the city council. The way I look at this, some people have argued that this whole thing, 3A, is a gift to the developers. But the developers can already do what this offers because they know how to navigate the system and they have the resources to go through the ZBA and through the city council. Whereas the average homeowner who might want to add a second unit for, say, their elderly parents or for their kids who are just starting their own families, they have to jump through a lot of hoops, and a lot of homeowners aren't really prepared or interested in going through all that. So this would make it much easier. It is I'll repeat this again, I've said it many times, it is a mandate to zone, it is not a mandate to build. The numbers are indeed, I think it's 2,240 units could be developed based on the zoning we're required to put in place. The expectation that that would happen ever, or even a portion of it over the next few years, is highly unlikely. I'm not trying to downplay it, that there's always the chance, but it's important that we, the city, are in compliance because we get lots and lots of grants from the state, including our housing choice designation, which gave us a 0.5% discount on our loan for the new sewer plant, $206 million, just a reminder. So we really need this kind of support from the state. And I'm not looking as mayor to stick a finger in the eye of the state and to make a point. So do I think 3A is the greatest thing ever? No, I don't. Do I think that our zoning that we're putting forward in these plans can work for us to the best of our ability? And yes, I do.
Okay, once again, please say again the next steps, the next meetings that are coming up, if you would.
Okay, so the city council will be holding a meeting on the 11th, which is Wednesday. We're recording this here on Monday, the 9th. I lost my page. And then I believe it's the 26th would be if it's needed to continue the public hearing. And that's about it. There's been a lot of public meetings, either with the planning board or the city's planning development subcommittee, or joint meetings with them and joint meetings with the city council. They're all available to go to the city's website. There's a black bar at the top of the home screen, the homepage, with a red dot says 3A zoning info. You can find all the links to all of the meetings, all the documents. It's all right there. And I think it's important that people understand what's fact and what's fiction. I'm not trying to downplay the significance of this or that it's a great thing for us, but there are others out there who are in opposition who are really not being forthright in what they're saying about it in terms of how they try to illustrate how negative it's going to be.
Well, I'll let it go. I should have. All right, you mentioned in our pregame warm up here, you took a trip up to New Gloucester, Maine.
Yes, I got an email in May from a gentleman named Tom Blake, who is a resident up there. He's in charge of their 250th birthday, they were calling it. So I didn't know there was a New Gloucester, and then I had no idea that it was originated here. So back in 1737, something like that, there was a land grant by the governor at the time, because Maine was part of Massachusetts back then. And so 12 families from Gloucester headed up there to do farming because Cape Ann's really not a great farming place with all the granite around here. And so I think this is the 250th anniversary of their incorporation as a town. But it was great to go up there. I met Tom Blake's father, Phil, who mentioned that they're like ninth generation or whatever it is, that their family originated here in Gloucester. He's one of the 12 families, or, just one of the 12 families. And it was great. It's a small town of about, well, small in terms of population, about 5,500 people. It's actually larger than us in terms of land area. It's like 47 square miles, and we're 28. It's a farming community, also more a visitor community too. Some of the farms and closed have become, tourist bedrooms, rooming rooms. I'm losing my train of thought here, but places that tourists could stay, and very nice people. So I went up there, rode in their parade, gave a speech, and the mayor of Gloucester, Mass, spoke in 1974 and in 1924. So I kept the tradition going.
All right. Very
Senator,
good. That's interesting.
Senator Susan Collins was there. She gave some. I had a chance to chat with her. So it's a very nice town. And I ran into a few people who were Gloucester folk, Gloucester, Mass folk who've moved up there, and a couple of people mentioned that their new Gloucester kids are marrying Gloucester kids, so they're coming down here for a beach wedding next year. So it's yeah, I would urge anybody to check it out on Wikipedia, but it's a nice community to visit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, speaking of generation after generation, the most recent Schooner Fest in Gloucester, which is a spectacular event, highlighted the Burnhams and the Stories of Essex. And the
Yeah.
Burnhams and the Stories have been boat building since the 1600s in Essex.
Yes,
What a spectacular weekend that was.
it was great. I went out for the first time for the race. The last couple of years I went out just for the parade of sail and then came back in. But this time I was out from like I think 9:30 to close to 5. But I was out on the adventure, and it was a lot of fun just seeing. God, I don't know how many schooners they had. I think they were planning like 28. It seemed like there were a lot more than that, but the harbor was just loaded with other boats who were there to visit and enjoy the scenery. And they're just beautiful vessels. I really would urge anybody out there who hasn't seen it yet to make a plan to do it and get aboard one of the whether it's a deck tour or get out on the ocean and enjoy one of our local schooners. It was a great time, and it's always a great event for the city. It was their 40th Schooner Fest, so I hope they have many, many more.
Were you out on a schooner or
I was on the adventure, yes.
on adventure? You mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the day before I had gone out on the Ernestina, which was a visiting from New schooner from New Bedford, and I went out just for a harbor cruise. So
quite a few years ago, the Ernestina was visiting Gloucester, and some education foundation or something or other offered a working tour for teachers in the afternoons. And I'm sorry about this video. I don't understand what the hell's going on with it. But anyway, in fact, I'm getting an error sign that the video is not on. Can you see it? Can you see me?
I can see you.
And
yes.
it says it cannot. Oh, anyway. But anyway, we're out on the adventure, and it was a 3 or 4 hour cruise, and I actually got to get at the wheel. I was at the wheel for a little while, about a half an hour, and it's an awesome feeling because you don't realize how big these suckers are until you're on one.
Oh yeah, and they put you to work on their Holland ropes, so it's it's don't go in there with your dress whites. You need
no,
to work.
No. All right, finally, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to leave this thing off. It's just driving me crazy. School's open, so tell me a little bit about how things have gone in Gloucester.
Sure. So schools opened up on last Tuesday, sorry, and it was great. I walked down with my daughter and my grandson for his first day of second grade. The week went well, as far as I hear from around the district. Today was the first day for kindergarten from my granddaughter over at West Parish, so I got to walk down with her as well. But it seemed like, at least for my grandkids, they were both very excited, a little bit nervous, but mostly excited to get to school. And it certainly seemed to be the case from all the other kids that we could see walking by my house, which is right around the corner from West Parish. So it's fingers crossed, going to be a great school year.
I know Salem's recently settled their teacher contract with the school committee. Is there a contract negotiation still underway, or has that been settled in Gloucester?
Yes and no. Yes, underway, and no, not settled. Our paras are still, we still do not have a contract with them. It's over a year since their contract expired. And the teachers, we started negotiating with them, I think, just at the end of the spring, and their contract is also expired. So we have work to do. We had the first day for teachers last Monday, a week ago today. And, you know, I spoke, the superintendent, Ben Lummis spoke, Kathy Clancy, the chair of the school committee, and Rachel Rex, I think you may know, who's the current GTA president. I think we're all on the same page that we want to work together to settle a fair contract that's fair for them and fair for the taxpayers, and you know, make sure that we are in good shape for the next 3 years of their contract. Not easy. We're in negotiations, so obviously I can't discuss much more than that. But you know, as a grandparent of 2 elementary school kids, it's very important to me that we have our staff feeling that you know, we, the committee, school committee, have their backs.
All right, next up, I guess fall and winter is coming, and I know that in December we have the lobster tree lightings. We have the lobster tree, Christmas tree. We have the lobster menorah, the lobster trap menorah, not lobsters, but lobster traps, and all kinds of stuff. So I look forward to hearing about that, and maybe getting back with you soon in a month or so.
Right on. Happy to do it.
All right, that is Gloucester Mayor Greg Verga with MSO News Sports. I'm